goddess Venus returned to her home, shaking with righteous anger. Her son, Cupid, was there.
Thank you, my son, but I am angry today. My altar was deserted today. No one came to worship me or leave me gifts. They all came to see a young princess. I saw her walking through the street. The people praised her and threw flowers at her feet. She's not a goddess. I will not be overshadowed by a young princess. I will give her cause to regret so unlawful beauty. Not I, my son. What will you do? Give your mother revenge and make her fall in love with a mean and unworthy person.
I will go and do as you say.
Cupid prepared to obey the commands of his mother. There were 2 fountains in Venus' garden. One had sweet waters that brought joy. Out of the other flowed bitter waters. Cupid filled 2 horses. One from each fountain. He tied them to the top of his quiver. Then he hurried to find Psyche, who was sleeping.
Oh, she truly is beautiful, maybe even more beautiful than my mother. I will show mercy. No, I must do as my mother commands.
He poured a few drops from the bitter fountain over her lip. Then he touched her side with the point of his arrow. She awoke and looked in his direction. Cupid was invisible, so Psyche could not see him, but he saw her and bore the full force of her beauty. He was so startled by it that, in his confusion, he wounded himself with his own arrow. His whole thought then was to repair the mischief he had done. He poured the drops of joy from the other vase over Psyche's silken curls. Then he left. Psyche meets her dad in his room.
Oh, my beautiful Psyche, I have called you here to tell you some wonderful news.
Hello, Dad. What is the wonderful news?
Both of your sisters are to be married soon. Antonia is to marry to Prince Octavian, and Prince Maxentius has asked the hands of Julia in marriage.
Oh, that is really wonderful news.
Now, Psyche, you should be happy for your sisters. Both of them are to marry royal princes, and they will take care of the rest of their lives. Don't despair of a husband yet. You are the most beautiful one of all.
Yes, I'm happy for them, but no one has come to you to ask for my hands in marriage. I'm so lonely. I'm sick of my beauty.
Perhaps we have unknowingly angered the gods. I shall ask the oracle of Apollo what to do.
The king did ask the oracle of Apollo for advice about his youngest daughter, and the oracle said,
The princess Psyche is destined to be the god of no mortal. Her future husband awaits her on the top of the mountain. He is a monster whom neither god nor man can fight.
These dreadful words of the oracle filled all the people with alarm. Psyche's father gave himself up to grief.
Oh, my dear Dad, are you crying for me? You should have rather grief when the people show upon me the undeserved honor. They called me a witness. Now, it seems that I'm a victim to that name. I submit. Lead me to the mountain to meet my unhappy fate.
Psyche's father took her to the top of the mountain. With sorrowful heart, he left her there and returned home. Psyche stood on the top of the mountain with eyes full of tears.
The gentle zephyr raised Psyche from the earth and carried her to a flowery valley. There, Psyche felt calm and peaceful, and she laid herself down on the grass to sleep.
The nap was so refreshing. I'm so thirsty. Oh, perhaps there is a spring hidden in the grove of tall trees.
Psyche entered the grove of trees. She found a beautiful palace.
Oh, what a beautiful palace! It seems so grand that I wonder if it is made by the hands of a god.
Drawn by admiration and wonder, she approached the building and went inside. Every object she saw filled her with pleasure and amazement. The walls were covered with paintings. Everywhere she saw all manner of treasures.
Beautiful lady, all that you see is yours.
Who's there? Who are you?
We whose voices you hear are your servants. We shall obey all your commands with our utmost care. You may go to your chamber and lie on your bed of down. A bath will be prepared for you. Supper awaits you in the next room whenever it pleases you.
Psyche enjoyed the refreshment of a bath and then seated herself in the next room. She felt tired and retired to bed. That night, while she was sleeping, her intended husband came to her. They talked of many things.
My husband, what is your name?
Some call me Eros.
Eros. Can you stay here not only in the evening? I want to see your face.
Why should you wish to behold me? Have you any thoughts of my love? Have you any wish unfulfilled? If you want you saw me, perhaps you would fear me, perhaps you would worship me. But all I ask of you is to love me.
Very well, my husband. I will do anything as you say.
But as time passed, Psyche thought of her father and of her sisters. The thought of them wondering about her fate preyed upon her mind. She knew her family would be sick with worry for her. The palace began to feel like a splendid prison.
I am so distressed about my family. I miss them so much. Please, could you please let me go to see them, or at least let them go here to see me?
Oh, my beautiful wife, please do not be so distressed. If you want to saw your sisters, I suppose they could come to see them.
Wow, that's great. Thank you, my husband.
The next morning, Psyche called Zephyr to come to her and told him to bring her sisters across the mountain down to their sister's valley soon. Then the three hugged and cried with happiness.
Come with me and refresh yourself with whatever you like.
Taking their hands, she led them into her golden palace. After a meal, she began to show them all her treasures. Seeing these heavenly delights caused her sisters to feel envy at seeing their young sister enjoying such splendor, which was far beyond their own.
Where is your husband, Psyche?
What sort of person is he?
Oh, my husband. My husband is a handsome young man. He often goes outside to hunt in the daytime. We love each other.
What does he look like? How old is he?
Is he very handsome?
I must confess, sisters, I never seen my husband.
What?
Are you serious?
Yes, I have never seen him. He only comes here in the darkness, and he will leave me before the morning light.
Remember, Psyche, the oracle said that you are destined to marry a monster. Your husband must be a terrible and monstrous serpent. If he wouldn't let you see his face, Perhaps he feeds you with tasty treats so he can by and by devour you.
Take out advice. Find a lamp and a sharp knife, and then hide them. Then, when he is sound asleep, bring forth your knife and see for yourself if what we say is true or not. If it is, do not hesitate to cut off the monster's head. Then you will be free.
No, no, it cannot be true. My husband is a kind and gentle man. I cannot let you speak of this again.
Psyche tried to forget these words as well as she could, but they did not fail to have their effect on her mind. Her sister's words and her own curiosity were too strong for her to resist. So she prepared her lamp and a sharp knife and hid them out of sight of her husband. One night after he had fallen asleep, she silently rose and let the lamplight fall on her sleeping husband's form.
Oh, my husband, you are not a monster. You look so handsome. And you have a gold hair, a white rings. Maybe you are one of the gods.
As she leaned the lamp over to have a better view of his face, some of the burning oil fell on his shoulder. Struggling awake, Cupid opened his eyes and saw her. Without saying a word, he spread his white wings and flew out of the window. Psyche tried to follow him and fell from the window to the ground. Cupid, looking back, and called to her.
Oh, foolish Psyche, is this the way you return my love? After I disobeyed my mother's command and made you my wife, will you think me a monster and cut off my head? No, you must go. Return to your sisters, whose value you value over mine. Now, I inflict no then to leave you forever.
No, I'm sorry. Don't leave me.
But Cupid flew away, leaving Psyche prostrating on the ground, filling the place with mournful lamentation. The end.